Yeah, that's right.
Jack Finelli.
Hi, Jack Finelli.
Thanks for getting in touch.
Not at all. Not that I have all that much to tell you. It's just that it's been kind of bugging me.
We can sit over there. Can I get you something from the bar?
Yeah, draft be fine.
Charlie, one more. I'm fine.
Oh, thanks. This is it's a very nice place you got here. Your in-laws here?
No, they're out for the afternoon. Some kind of Irish affair.
Yeah. Well, I read a lot about the senator and his family this past year, you know? And, of course, I knew your wife. You know, from the television, from the Channel 1 News. That's the reason that I recognized her that day. And then when I read about it the next day in the paper, I am telling you, that really knocked me for a loop. Didn't the police tell you nothing?
No details, just that a witness turned up. Then you didn't see Mary in the car.
No, it's before that. See, we had a conversation. I mean, that's why I didn't know what to do. I mean, if I had seen it crash or something, I would have come forward right away, you know?
You sure that it was Mary that you saw?
Yeah, I mean, we had a pretty long conversation. That's what led me eventually to call the police. Like I was telling my girlfriend, Gloria, you know? I said, I might be the last person that ever talked to that girl alive. Well, I'm sorry. Anyway, it got to bugging me, you know? So I called the newspaper and asked them for your number, which, of course, they didn't give me. And then I tried the police. Well, you know, I mean, I guess I could have come here and talked to your in-laws, but, I mean, you know, they might have thought I was some kind of crackpot or something, and, you know, I figured she's your wife.
You did the right thing. Now, please, could you tell me what happened? You talked to my wife. Where was that?
There was in a little coffee shop out in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn? Where?
Well, in my neighborhood. It's Coney Island area.
When? What time of the day?
Well, it's about 3 o'clock, because I was on my way to the unemployment. 4 o'clock, I signed for my check.
Mary was in a coffee house in Brooklyn. 3 o'clock time. What was she doing?
She was crying. Now, that's the reason I had to notice her. I mean, not that I wouldn't have noticed her anyway. She was a beautiful girl. But I go in there for a cup of coffee, and I'm sitting at the counter, and I look across, and I see this really good-looking girl sitting in a booth opposite me. And I'm thinking, like, she's real familiar, you know? And then I realized, hey, that's the girl on the Channel 1 News.
You spoke to her?
Right. Now, I didn't let on that I knew who she was, because, you know, I didn't want to embarrass her. I mean, somebody like that in a public eye, sitting there crying. You know, I mean, well, she wasn't crying loud. It was kind of quiet, but there was tears, all right. So I go over to her, and I ask, you know, if there's anything like I can do, because I figured maybe there's like a death in the family or something.
What'd she say?
Well, she looked kind of wary, and so I said, excuse me, miss, I'm not trying to pick you up. Believe me, I wasn't. I said, you look just, you know, kind of unhappy, and if you need somebody to talk to, like I'm not doing nothing for the next half hour or so.
And?
Well, it kind of went back and forth like that, and eventually she must have figured out that it was okay. And, you know, she really needed somebody to talk to. And so she actually told me that she was feeling awful because she had done something awful, and she didn't know how to fix it. And she'd missed her sister's wedding because she was so mad.
Mary told you that point blank. She missed her sister's wedding on purpose.
Well, I don't know how much on purpose she did. I mean, I guess she was worried about one thing and another, and they'd had some words. And there was some kind of a problem at home, too. And maybe she couldn't handle it. So she's driving around, and she doesn't realize what time it is, and all of a sudden she's halfway to the middle of Brooklyn.
Yeah, but she made a call. She called and said that she was on her way.
Right, and she told me about that. She said she made a telephone call to who? You?
Her father.
That's right. She was on the phone to her father. She started to leave, and all of a sudden, the whole thing hit her again. Look, I'm sorry. I'm only telling you what she told me. I mean, she said she was so mad that she didn't go to her sister's wedding, and immediately she felt crummy about it. And she was sitting there trying to get the courage up to come back and apologize for behaving like a baby to her husband and to her sister. And I told her, don't worry about it. I said, they will forgive you no matter what you've done. But she said this to me. She said, it would take me my whole life to get things back the way they were, to restore things back to them.
Did she say what the fight was about?
You mean what made her mad? No, she didn't. I mean, I tried to bring that out of her, draw it out, you know, so she could dump it, and then maybe she'd feel better.
Yeah.
But she said it was very private.
Anything else?
Well, we talked about, you know, making mistakes and making up and that kind of stuff, and then she left. I mean, she was still kind of shaky, but she was in a hurry to get there before her sister went off on a honeymoon. And the damnedest thing, the last thing I said to her before she left was, please drive carefully. And then, of course, the next day I read it in the paper. Does any of that make sense to you?
Yeah. It clears. Something's up.
Well, I'm glad it does that much. I mean, I guess a time like this, there's not much you can do, and I'm really sorry that I can't tell you anymore.
One more thing.
Sure.
What kind of hat were you wearing? What color?
Hat? Well, I guess I was wearing this. What?
Nothing. Never mind. Could I have your number in case I think of anything else to ask?
Sure, absolutely. Now, look, you call me anytime, okay? And if you just want to talk, it's perfectly fine with me. I mean, it's not easy dealing with a loss like this. I mean, your wife, she was something special.
Appreciate you coming. A lot of people wouldn't have bothered.
Oh, listen, I should have called earlier. Like I was telling my girlfriend, Gloria, this girl, she was really upset and feeling really sorry. And I figured, you know, that her family ought to know. Now, you're going to tell her sister, right? I mean, how sorry she was?
I'll tell her.
How's Siobhan?
Well, among other things, pregnant.
Well, that's a surprise. Yeah. Whatever happened to family planning?
Oh, I didn't even ask. No way.
You don't sound pleased. Isn't she?
Well, there's mixed feelings all around. Joe's happy. He wants a family. And he's also aware that in terms of the mess that's going on in Brooklyn, it's bad timing. And get this. He still denies it's a gang war, but at the same time, he puts Siobhan under guard 24 hours a day.
Under guard?
Yeah, it was the first she heard of it, too. She's scared. And he's doing this big protective number on her. Jill?
I'm sorry. I guess I'm surprised at how much it affects me.
Yeah, Joe swears she's safe. I don't know.
No, I didn't mean that. Oh, sure, I'm worried about them, but I meant about the baby. I want one, Frank. Oh, I know. I should be happy that we're together every day and every night, but I want your baby. I want little John with us.
You still want Edmund?
Don't you?
Yeah. I was going through the calendar yesterday to make an appointment, and I realized his birthday's coming up.
3. Well, we can't have him, but we can have other babies. We can have lots of babies. Especially if Seneca would decide to give me a divorce. Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm going on about my own needs, and you'll worry about Siobhan.
Oh, it's natural. Those are my needs, too. Hey, it will happen. It'll happen. Seneca, he can't hold out forever, right?
He can if he wants to.
Well, then let's hope he doesn't want to. Maybe he'll find somebody else and want his freedom, too. It'll happen. Just give it some time.
How much time do we have? Hi.
Hi.
I love you. I have some news.
Good or bad?
Beautiful. Come on. You have to sit down and hear this one. Somebody wants to represent me. Maybe. At least I think that's what she wants.
An agent?
Not an agent, the agent. Only Paige Williams.
I take it that's good.
I think it's the best. She's really more a personal manager than an agent. And she doesn't just handle actors. She handles directors and playwrights. Only not too many of them because she wants to have lots of time for everybody. The thing is that all her clients are established and famous, and she helped get them that way.
Hey, this could be a real big break, right?
I think so. She asked me to have supper with her tonight.
But you turned it down.
I had other plans.
You turned down Paige Williams to see me. How about that?
Of course. You're the first thing in my life. She wants me to have lunch with her tomorrow. She liked me, Franco.
Well, that's because you're wonderful.
No, that's because of you. If you'd seen me opening night, she would have hated me.
The critic didn't.
Well, I was much better tonight. Much better. I felt good, and it showed. I was Marina, and I knew what love was about. And that was because of you.
Well, that's nice to hear, but hey, listen, don't sell yourself short. You are very much your own person, and whatever you come up with, it comes from right down inside of you.
With a little help from my friend. Don't deny it.
I give up.
Do. You may not have taught me how to act, but you did help me stand up to my mother and do the play, and you did help me feel good, even when I did get those crummy notices.
Yeah?
Yeah. It helped.
Well, I'm glad if I help. No extra charge.
You can collect anyway.
Want good things for you, Kim.
What else can I have? I have you loving me, and I have a career on the way.
I hope you have all the good things you want in life.
I feel like I already do. And I intend to keep them as long as I can. Hi. Can I come in?
Delighted. You didn't have to bring your own drink.
Well, I always heard it was dangerous to drink alone, and plus the fact it's totally boring. And I knew you'd give me a refill.
How are you?
Lonesome. You too? Yeah, I figure. Two, I have a message that I'm supposed to deliver, and I wasn't going to, but then I thought, well, if I don't, I'll feel guilty about it. And you know how I hate to feel guilty. Or is that you?
A message from...
From your wife. She came by to see me to borrow a book.
Delia?
Yeah, I didn't even know she knew anything about books either. No, I'm sorry, that's mean. She wanted one on Victorian architecture because, well, she's pulling her life together and she wants you to know.
Honey,
No, there's
don't-
more. She's opening a restaurant. Dazzling in the park.
I heard that rumor.
Yeah, well, it's going to be Victorian decor. And she has lots of new friends.
I met one of them. A gorilla.
Yeah, she's got friends, and she's emotionally stable now. And I guess her money problems are apparently solved. Well, she doesn't want you to worry about her. Over and out.
In other words, she's still furious.
I guess so. And more?
No, help yourself. Actually, I'm rather astonished. Delia hasn't been so aggressively angry in a long time.
Well, here's to mental health. Maybe the real Delia Reed, Ryan, or whatever her name is, just stood up. And frankly, I think it's a total waste of time.
Yeah, you're a little smashed.
Well, maybe the real Faith Coleridge Desmond just stood up.
You're drunk.
Mildly. Now, I'm very pleasant, and I don't need a lecture from you.
Well, any doctor knows that alcohol can be a good medicine as long as you control the dose.
Well, one thing we all know I'm excellent at is control. You're talking about you.
And Delia.
Yeah, and a waste of time.
Am I to understand that your previous position is reversing itself?
What was my previous position?
Something like, Roger, unfortunately, you and Delia are right for each other. Go and make up with her.
It was being supported. I do that. It didn't work. You tried. She just wasn't going to have any. So I think the next step is look elsewhere, because I think you can do a hell of a lot better.
You think?
I know. I know there's a terrific woman out there who deserves you. Find her. And then if you want me to deliver a cute little message to Delia about how happy you are, I'd be more than happy to. Think about it.
I will. But I wonder if new company is the answer for me right now.
I'll tell you, it's a hell of a lot better than being lonely, isn't it?
Here. Look, Jack. Mary was mad, okay. And then she was sorry. We thought that was it all along. Now, doesn't it help to know for sure?
Didn't have to come up here, Frank.
It wasn't to hold your hand, believe me. Did Hirsch say anything else?
Like?
Like, what was Mary doing way the hell out in Brooklyn in the first place?
Driving around, trying to handle it all. Fight with Siobhan, fight with me.
She told him that?
More or less.
Oh, I guess it makes sense. I know when Mary was a kid and she was really mad about something, she'd get on her bike, go into the park, be gone for hours, peddling her anger off.
She jogged for an hour and a half the morning of the wedding.
Yeah. And then when she had gotten some perspective on it, she might decide that an apology was in order and she'd come racing back home to do it. She was always frantic about making amends.
Yeah. Well, if she wasn't driving around upset in the first place, then there would...
Jack, look, cut it out. It doesn't do any good. All right, Siobhan and Mary argued. When didn't they? You and Mary were in the middle of something. So what? Jack, there are damned few married couples who don't have times they regret and say things they don't really mean.
You don't know the whole story, Frank.
You want to tell me about it?
The fight she had with Siobhan and the fight she had with me were both about Siobhan and me.
The two of you? How was that?
Remember last summer, Mary spent a lot of time in Washington. It was right after the rent strike when those CMP goons put me in hospital and I recuperated here. Siobhan was around a lot. We talked a lot. We shared a lot. I was missing Mary, and before we knew it, Siobhan and I had a big investment in each other. We both realized that we'd come too close. We said so. That was it. There was no affair.
But you thought about it.
Each considered it separately, rejected the idea. Wasn't enough for Mary.
When did she find out?
Just before the wedding. I told her everything. Never seen her so hurt. Wasn't the idea of the physical attraction that bothered her a little. It was the emotional bond. Both Siobhan and I told her it was over, but it didn't seem to matter. She wondered if Siobhan was marrying Joe on the rebound, and she blamed herself for not paying more attention. That's what she was dealing with the morning of the wedding. She asked me to leave her alone to work it through.
And that's what she did.
Yeah. Was she still working through it when the car went off the road? Both of her kept our mouths shut. She would have been here where she belonged.
Jack, look. You and Siobhan would have had to lie. You would have had to keep on lying. Mary asked for the truth. You told it. She traded in it. You know that. Okay, the timing was bad, but it was an accident. We don't know why. The car, the road, we probably never will, but I do know this. My sister hated guilt. She thought it was self-indulgent. If you were sorry, you acted on it. You did not wallow in it. Mary was in a hurry, trying to get back here because she was sorry.
Got a visitor. You took care of the matter?
I told Jack Finelli the story, just the way we worked it out.
He was satisfied?
I think so. I think it hit home. He asked me a couple of questions. I had to wing a couple of answers. He said he might call me, wanted my number.
I think you can handle it.
You know, what would help me is to know more about what really happened with his wife and her sister. You think you could ask Joe?
No, Joey's not in this. And I want it to stay that way. Besides, when a lie gets complicated, it gets hard to believe. When he calls, just tell him the same thing. I think we've probably taken care of Mr. Finelli and his questions.
SoapNet's breakfast in bed just got supersized. Now you can enjoy breakfast in bed all day with the OC, One Tree Hill, Beverly Hills 90210, and Gilmore Girls. Every Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on SoapNet.